So, you're a struggling parent. That is, you're struggling with how your kids are interacting with you. Yeah, I can't help you with the other stuff. I mean, okay, I can. You know what? A do-over. Parents have a lot to deal with in regarding to their kids nowadays. It's a real favorite to folks to talk about how much shit was just harder back in my day, but seriously, get real. In the past 20 years, I have worked with a lot of parents under a lot of different situations, and I've worked with a lot of kids under really high pressure deals in residential types of work. And I've even been a substitute in schools. It is definitely not the same world. That's just 20 years. The biggest thing to note is that once upon a time, a kid went back to school and then they went out or they went home. They basically screwed around with whoever happened to be present. And now, for good or ill, that kind of that formative period for kids isn't like that anymore because that was when and how they would learn to make friends and learn how to look at life. But now, pick a streaming service, pick a social media platform, play video games with anyone in the world. Just those three things alone are a challenge, but they're going to be piled on top of the fact that they can just get around with anybody, anywhere. That's on top of that. There are people on YouTube who just act like they know what they're talking about and that you should listen to them because they're obviously right about everything. So anyway, doing battle with your kids, any kids, if you're unfortunate, but your kids is hard. These are people in process that you love and cherish, and you want the world for them. The good bits, obviously, not just the crappy stuff, but predators and drugs and polls. Boy, today is just all over the place. So, couple of facts. Kids, they've been probably smooching by 14. Many more have decided that they should have sex at that time. It's not surprising given that society explains to them in vivid, lurid detail every bloody day that sex is the best thing ever and that they're clearly in the wrong if they don't want it. And if it's not coming through clearly enough, that is sarcasm. Toxic masculinity is the subject of a different radio counseling. So here's the score. If you find that battling your kids is a frequent thing for you, the best thing you can do is understand what it is you are fighting about. When you're developing a sense of frustration about why aren't they listening, realize that you may have done a very good job in teaching them to think for themselves, and they are just implementing it at an inconvenient time. Good job. Kick back and watch. Keep Band-Aids on hand. On a more serious, they have to listen or lose an arm or be pregnant oftentimes. That kind of fight, it's a breathe deep and refocus. What's your actual goal here? Why is this important to you? And explain that instead. Look for the why this has to happen and go for that. Remember, if you bring the trail of thought to a logical conclusion, people will frequently listen more than, please listen to me! So, of course, there's another point where some children, especially younger ones, just don't listen, and that's because they may have been taught to fend for themselves. Now, on the off chance that you are a parent who was often absent due to addictions, bad relationships, or similar poor choices, just because you're ready to assume the role of parenthood doesn't mean that your kids are ready to listen. Like any shift in a relationship, it takes time for something to settle in, and people, including your child, may not be ready or believe in the changes that you profess to be doing. That means you may spend some time justifying yourself and essentially putting some money in that emotional bank, even if it's to a 5-year-old.